Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are having a great week. Just jumping on here right now. Let's take a look at some of these signals this morning. Now, you guys, I actually ended up turning off the MA filter so I could see more opportunities. Good shorts, long, short, and then a long here. Great entry. Taking a look at this real quick. Something I was looking at yesterday. Sorry I wasn't able to post a video yesterday. My wife was having a bad reaction to some medication that she's on. So I wanted to get back on this morning and do some live trading over here if I can for you guys. But take a look at this. You know how we're below the 200 EMA here, right? And we don't technically want to look for reversal trades unless you're a bit more advanced and know what to look for. But you see how we're making a higher low right here? So higher low and money momentum, take a look, is actually stepping up as well. So this is where you can actually spot some reversals. And then you get that buy signal coming over. And, so far, gosh, already this trade, how much are you up? From entry to right now, you're looking at 60 points. 60 points is massive. 60 points with 5 micros is $600 per account. Now, I know there's a lot of you out here that have 5 pro take profit accounts. Well, that's $3,000 just off of this trade right here. That's lasted less than, 20 minutes. And you guys, what's even better with this too is, this wasn't even at market open. Market open's actually way back here, 630. So let's look at these. 630 came in. This white dot actually never closed below the profit wave. Max potential profit drawing down about 70 here. If your background colors changes over, red to green, and this ends up closing out right here, that's 40 points. That's really good. Keep looking at that. Keep looking at all of these opportunities that come through and just see, you're never going to get max potential on all of this, right? You're not going to get 40. You're not going to get 60. You're not going to get the other 60 over here. But you know what? Break it up into smaller chunks. Break it up into 10 points here, 10 points there, and see how fast it actually adds up. And you'll actually be pretty surprised on how this actually works. But what I want to do here for you guys this morning is take a look at the analysis, everything that's going on. Look at the 1 minute time frame down here. Have you guys ever had this happen to you? Now, this is saying that we are extremely extended into this top red section. This is where we are either going to see one of two things, a massive crash down, or we can steadily continue to keep it up until this starts stepping down, right? Until it starts stepping down. See how over here, top red section started stepping down. What happened to price? Started decreasing. Up here, top red started stepping down. What happened? Price started decreasing. That is where you want to be looking to go short. And since we're overall just kind of trading a little bit close to this EMA here, this is where I actually like to take the MA filter off to be able to get opportunities on both sides of it, okay? So what I'm looking at over here, if an opportunity comes up, is I want to see if this background color switches back over to red and to see if we can get a big flush to the downside here. That is what I'll be looking at to see about capitalizing on this morning. And that would be a great spot. Now, the other thing you could tell yourself is, hey, Justin, what happens if you come down here into the profit wave? Isn't this a great spot to be adding to a position for an overall continuation? Yes, but just make sure that your background is still green. Think of it like this, you guys. If you're in a trade, and this is the reason why I designed these metrics this way. If you're in a buy signal and the entire time everything is green and nothing changes, what I mean by everything being green. Background's green, profit wave is green, and the candles are green, right? So at any point with all this, have we actually switched over to anything being red? Not yet. So this is how you can hold these trades even longer and longer. Now, typically speaking, I don't like to trade the first half an hour to hour of market open. So right now, I am stepping in literally at 7:30 at the sweet spot time that I like to trade. Because typically what happens, big banks and institutions are closing out that first half an hour to hour. Then a lot of retail traders come in. And what happens when retail traders come into the market? It'll typically trend. We aren't looking for 100 or 200 points. We might be looking for 10 points, 30 points, 50 points, depending on what it actually gives us. So that is exactly what I'm looking for here. It doesn't look like there's a setup right at this moment. So while I'm doing this, I want to let you guys know that you can actually grab all these metrics for life and never have to worry about any monthly service fees ever. And also, every first and third Friday of the month, if you guys go over to Take Profit Trader and you type in My Future Success as just a promo code, when you grab all of your accounts, just like this, go over to Take Profit, and when you get these 50Ks, just type in My Future Success. Not only is this going to give you the best discounts possible, but when you pass those 5 accounts, like all these members did, shoot me a screenshot of all your accounts in Pro. What this is going to do is I'm going to go on a live Zoom call every first and third Friday, and actually tomorrow is the next call. So if you're in the process right now, of course you wouldn't be able to do it right today because you have to trade at least 5 minimum days. But if you are currently in the process and you have passed all your accounts, shoot me an email so I can add you to tomorrow. We are having weekly competitions, monthly competitions, and just giving the best education that you possibly can. Now, if you're someone that likes to do more kind of one-on-one, there's actually a live training session that's held every Tuesday and Thursday, literally going on right now from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. that goes over every buy and sell signal and the technical analysis so you can follow along. Over here with Ron, who is one of my affiliates that has been trading and coaching for over 20 years. But you guys, let's get back over here to the charts and see exactly what's happening. We are now coming back down a bit here. So what can we do with this? What do I actually teach you guys a lot when you're looking for continuational trades? Well, continuational trades are one of two things. If you get a pullback into the profit wave, what's the first thing that I'm looking for continuation higher? Indecision and doji candles. What are we getting right now? We're actually getting that. Indecision and doji. What do I mean by that? Well, take a look. If there's a wick out the top and the bottom, that's indecision, indecision, indecision. Doji, doji, doji. All this means is that the market right now doesn't know exactly where it wants to go, but it needs to settle out. The first candle that's populated, right, as a bullish candle that can be formed is a good sign that you could see an increase even higher. And that is actually your continuated entry. Now, something like this, you guys see how we had a pullback here, indecision. This isn't as extreme, but indecision, indecision, entry right here. This can then be your entry to then play higher, okay? So don't feel bad. How many times have we got on our charts, right? And you get on like here, or you get on here, and you're like, oh my gosh, the buy signal was already illuminated back here. I've already missed the opportunity. Don't ever feel like you missed the opportunity. And the first thing I would say is if you feel like you've missed an opportunity, do nothing, right? Don't force anything. So like on this trade right here, 47 seconds left. Let's just see what happens. Let's see if this actually gets populated. And if this is a strong bullish candle, this can mean that this can push higher and we could be at a great opportunity. And if so, I'll actually go ahead and enter it in over here on my accounts and we'll see what happens. Level of resistance isn't until way up here. This could absolutely run. So let's just do it together here. Let's see if this analysis ends up panning out. And we'll do this together in about, 30 seconds left here. And we'll see if we can capitalize on it. Trading over here with 2 accounts on take profit. You guys know myself. I like to trade with 5 micros per account. And then you can scale into positions afterwards. But the reason I say that is you want to enter in with 5 because if for some reason it goes the wrong way, you want to lose with 5. And there we go. Entered in. I've entered in right at that spot. There we go. We are seeing a push up. I'm actually going to buy market again. I like this area here. Let's see if we can get a bit more of a push. Total P&L is listed right up here on the top so you guys can take a look at this. I currently sit about $400 right now. I am super happy with that. Even more, $500, $600. We are right at resistance. I'm closing out $600. Oh, almost closed it out. Came back down on me. Let's see if we can get that push back up here and close this out. I was a little slow on the trigger finger this morning. So let's see if this comes back up here real quick so we can close this out. Might not end up getting the exact total 600 here, but this is level of resistance. It literally just came almost right up to that. So something that you guys can do too is you can also look at doing brackets on your accounts. If you're trading an individual account, meaning just one here on Tradovate, you can actually look into doing that and it'll close it out for you automatically. Here we go, guys. We're coming back up here now. Feeling confident with this trade. This is really good. A little bit of a push higher and this will be totally fine. Where are we at? 600. We are at 640, 700, 800. Wow, this thing just wants to keep pushing and pushing. There's 8. I don't want to get greedy on this at all, you guys. You guys know me. $800. Let's go ahead and see if we can close this. $700. 500. Getting that push down a little bit more. 600. Coming back up. I like this movement. Gosh, really strong movement upwards here. This is just, let's look back a little bit further. Yeah, this could either just fly straight back down or this could continue up quite a bit. And we could see newer highs on this. Wow, really good trade so far. I love this. I really like how coming back down here, this was able to show that indecision, right? And then entering in right at this candle and then seeing that push higher. So that is a great, great spot to be looking at capitalizing on trades like this. So I'm going to stay within this just a little bit longer and see if this will come back up a little bit. If not, that is totally fine. And I'll look at closing this out for just a slight little bit of profit. But guys, that is exactly how I want you guys to be looking at these trades here this morning, right? So indecision, and then we can come back up. Indecision, we can come back up. Okay. So that is exactly how we want to be looking at some of these. If we come back down into the profit wave too, right? So as long as this white dot is staying within that profit wave, this is where you can stay within that position and see it even increase higher and higher. So it's actually how a lot of traders that I'm working with are doing something where you get these massive runs. And what I mean by runs, you can enter in here and you see all this fluctuation. Well, as long as you're staying in, you can stay within that pullback and then it pushes down even further. That is where you can hold this even longer and longer, right? So use this white dot as more or less of like a reference, not so much of where the actual candles and everything go within that time frame, but where it actually ends. And if it's ending at or above and inside that profit wave, that is where you can look to be holding positions a little bit longer. And that's how you can capitalize on bigger pushes to the upside that can continue even longer. So instead of just running for maybe, let's say, 10 points or 20 points, this is how you can sometimes run for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 points, right? So that is where it gets much, much better. All right, guys, this is the push that I'm going to be entering or exiting on just in a second here. We're getting a doji candle, which is indecision, which I don't like indecision doji candles at all. Looking for this. Money momentum is actually stepping back down. Take a look at this. If money's flowing out of the market and you're making a higher high, this is where you don't want to be in trades a lot because it can just flush the other way. Up here, $700 closed out. $700 and I'm done. That is a perfect entry this morning. Could it keep going even further? Absolutely. But I am totally fine with that. All right, guys, that is a live trade done right in front of you guys, 700. Ended up adding to the position a little bit, trading with 10 micros total per account for two of those, so about $1,400 today. And that was adding in with confirmation on the trend to the upside here. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday. Look at this sucker run. It went even further. That probably would have been $1,000 trade. All right, guys, take care. God bless. Have a great one.